There you go.
Hey,
Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hey, how are y'all?
Hey.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hola. Sorry, I'm late. Duty calls.
We understand.
You like your sunglasses, Mary?
Thank you. I try to wear a different pair every time just for you, David. Joy of buying them in bulk from China.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we look great in them. Like seeing the reflection.
Is that better? Do you prefer that? It's so bright. Such a nice day.
Yeah.
Does everybody know each other? Like, Mary, that's Judy that we went to lunch with.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Judy, that we went to lunch with.
Like, I'm like confused on who is in which group, and I know that Anita and Judy are in the same group, but Ramona and Mary are different in groups. So if you could just yeah.
Yeah. I'm Ramona, Mary.
Hi, Ramona.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
I'm Jonathan's mother.
Okay. You could tell us all sorts of good stories, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could, yes.
Yeah, I just had an emotion coach session with Paula, and lots around the age of 17 came up. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She could.
Okay.
Hi, Mary. I'm Anita.
Hi, Anita. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you. Ready for the weekend.
Good.
Very cool.
Each other now.
All right, Jonathan, you got the ball.
Okay, so we're going to promise ourselves and you will be done in 45 minutes. Is that what our commitment was? Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So there's a couple of questions we would like to ask, and one I think we already did, and that's what you said yes to, which was just recognizing our business is going to grow as people take their own work serious and share it and be it in their lives. And we don't do marketing in the traditional sense. And so those that have had good experiences with us are our best salespeople, so to speak. So we're not asking you to sell. I hope that didn't like trigger something in you when I said that, but we are asking to learn from your experience and to help support you in spreading the work if it's useful to you in very simple ways with people you know. So we're going to brainstorm. We'd like to brainstorm around that a little bit. We have a couple of ideas ourselves, but I think the first question we want to ask is CoS useful for you? And if so, how? Just for our own sake to learn. Because if it's not, then we definitely don't expect it to be very easy for you to invite somebody into something that's not helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody has anything if anybody wants to start us off on that question, that would be great.
It's been, for me, it's been extremely helpful, kind of or maybe especially as a transplant to Missouri. I was, right around the time I got the text, it was so awesome, like an answer to prayer. I got the text from Jim that this was starting up, but I was like searching for community. I visited a couple of places here and done some meetups and done things here, just wasn't connecting with anyone. So for me, it's been extremely helpful and enjoyable, and helps me not feel so isolated, not only in the area, but also in the awakening process. Because, you could go talk to a whole bunch of people about whatever sporting event happened this weekend, and there's a lot less people to talk to about this type of stuff. So.
Very cool. Thank you, Anita. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, the question you sent us, I'm assuming, did you send that to all the Cultivating Our Souls groups today about like how we felt as far as connected to our group?
Yes, we did. All 4 groups got that. Yeah.
So Anita, what was your answer to how connected on a scale of 1 to 5 that you felt with your group?
Yeah, on the call I felt 5, and then not on the call I felt 4. But I think a big contribution to that was early on in the group, we had made individual calls to each other to get to know each other on a one-on-one basis, and
Gotcha.
that helped me a whole
Huge
lot.
difference.
Yeah, and then becoming friends on Facebook, liking each other's posts, that kind of stuff helps me to feel like I'll see Kathy's name pop up or Judy's name pop up, and I feel connected. Thank you for the question. How about you?
Well, so because mine was probably not that, but again, we did kind of a cursory in one of our early sessions. I don't even think I was in the first session. Maybe somebody besides me remembers, but like I've had a conversation with Kathy on the phone that was amazing. I've had lunch with Judy, which was amazing. So it's like I'm connecting with people that are not in my Cultivating Our Souls, and all of that resonates with me very well. I don't know, like obviously the death of a spouse with one of our people in Cultivating Our Souls, like one of my questions is and this is part of my work to do, obviously, but for people, when you come into a Cultivating Our Souls group, I think there's a real advantage to being in there with people that maybe aren't in your walk or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's some amount of, I don't know if tolerance is the word or whatever, like we all should be able to relate on a certain level. One of the things that I would wonder is I have a life plan, so I kind of know my junk a little bit, that I need to kind of work on. But for people that are coming in, if it's being utilized on both ends, but as a medium to introduce people to the notion of life plan, then are those people, like if they don't click, I'm saying click, I don't know if that's the right term, with their group, what does that do? Do they bail out? Do they move? Like what happens? So like that's just kind of one of my thoughts.
We find most of the people that want to bail out are very interested in talking to you, Mary.
Thanks, David.
We keep hearing about this Mary Smith lady. Who is she? Can I talk to her?
Yeah, we hear she has some issues. Maybe she'll make us feel better about ourselves.
How do I make sure I'm not in her group?
Yeah. But I mean, how do you there's no like matching do you know what I mean? Like if people, because there is that how ready for what level of work or what I don't know, like there's not degrees because we all have work to do all the time. It's a never ending process, right? But like what creates the cohesiveness? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, a couple things that come to mind, not as any definitive answer, but just some experience we've shared, is we have accommodated a few requests for shifts in groups where people have switched groups, and those haven't typically been because people felt disconnected. It might have been more about the convenience of that time.
Right.
Okay. Another thing that we noticed is that Saturday's group seems to be more connected because it's Saturday. I don't know if that's true or not.
Interesting.
But Boomy mentioned that. She mentioned that she doesn't feel like caught in the middle of her day.
The
Where
pressure of work. She's fully focused.
Yeah, and it feels like a very connected group. We're trying not to think we know the answer and to manage and control it. And we're also trying to invite participants to co-create the closeness with us. Like, in other words, to be, as Mazi, an example of what's possible, and then to hold the space for others to co-create that closeness with us is something that would be ideal. Like that's an objective, I believe. but I don't consider that a complete answer to your question, Mary. I'm just sharing what comes to mind in listening.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Who has birds?
But I think that might be me.
Oh.
There were some babies. Yeah.
Like,
There's up the. Can you see?
Aww.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Judy or Ramona? Can I call you Ramona here? I will call you Ramona
Sure.
here.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Do either of you have any input on how the group's beneficial for you, or if it's beneficial, and if so, how?
I'll go. Yeah, I think it is beneficial, the group that I'm a part of. And this is all brand new to me. So I'm starting out, I don't have my life plan done or any of that. But being exposed to the Enneagram and, having the resources and assignments to do, I'm trying to spend more time with that. And so I do feel that it's opened just some new avenues for me, just something that I'm just learning, just beginning to learn about. And when I've shared it with, I've mentioned the Enneagram to a small group of women, this was maybe a couple of months ago, and just to see if anybody had heard of it. And two people in the group had heard of it. And so anyway, I don't know if I'm really explaining what I'm feeling, but it's been a good experience so far, and I do feel like I want to delve more into it. So yeah, in the group, I feel comfortable, although, I'm not in the same city with, most of the people are in Houston. Of course, you, Jonathan, are in Spain right now, but me being here in North Carolina, but it has been helpful even to get text from Mozzie, from you guys, and whether I always respond or not, it's been helpful.
That does not get you licensed.
What was that?
Jim got all excited about, more contact and text.
Yeah. Did you see the two light up?
Go crazy.
So that's about it for me.
I kind of shared, I started off our group today. So for those of you not in it, Ramona and Mary, I think I kind of told my group today, for me, what's been the biggest outcome, or, when my sister asked me over the weekend about it and what it was about. And it, for me, it was the Enneagram process, and having people in that are all from different numbers in my group really helps me translate that to my close relationships, as far as really seeing those people and not judging or reacting first. So it's really helped me understand the depth of each personality and honoring each personality, even though the people in my life sometimes I want to strangle, right? That's my first reaction. Yeah. So it's helped me learn about me, how I'm reacting to that personality, and what buttons that's pushing, by being surrounded by some of the people in my group that are, on other ends of the spectrum. I do think that I think with any group, not just this one, I know I experienced this in church as a young adult. The verbiage, sometimes I get caught up in, am I using the right language, right? And I don't know how you balance that with, we're all on this track and this road and trying to understand what we're trying to do, right? But I feel like with someone who doesn't have as much exposure to self-discovery, they could get hung up on that. Does that make sense? So, yeah.
Very cool. Mozzie, do we have any follow-up questions? after that.
That was really rich.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Gals. So, yeah, David, would you want to share? I'm sorry. I'll ask the question to all of you, and knowing that we have a couple of ideas in mind that maybe we'll withhold until we feel we've heard your own input on what would be an easy way then for us to support you and inviting people into a COS group, potentially, or into a conversation of exploration with Monty around, in this case, COS, but it could be life plans. Yeah, is there anything that you guys, I know Anita, you said you had some thoughts that I don't think you got to share with us when you were on the team call the other day, so maybe you could start and give other people some time to think.
Yeah. Well, one of them was, I was thinking how much I would really enjoy inviting my family to this, like my brother, sister, my brother, he's really struggling with his 17-year-old son right now, and I'm like, oh, it would be so great if he was like plugged into this environment and like got to, you know, experience himself as he really is. So I was thinking that it might be cool to see, and I don't know how this would look, but just to see if could somehow organize maybe family groups, or then like Mary kind of was saying, like, how do you create that cohesiveness? And it's like, well, maybe we can form some like friends groups. And these are just brainstorming ideas where we're just like, so this group is like kind of Anita's friends and family group, and I get to like assimilate my people into it that way. Yeah. For me, the holdup would be, and this is maybe where I could use help, is the holdup might be getting my family, getting some of them to like pay for it up front without knowing what it is really. So maybe if there could be like a trial session or something to see if, so they can see, because they have no grid, they have no like, if I'm like, oh, it's about awakening and transforming, that there's not going to be anything, you know, there. If I say, oh, you know, even to say like we set 3-minute intention time or something like that, like my brother and sister and stuff would understand, oh, if we had, you know, prayer and worship and this or that, like they would get that, you know. But there's just, I guess, there's that gap, you know, between that and here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that actually, like, that's kind of a good point, because if you think about, I don't know how everybody else came into the life plan kind of process, but, you know, I had a lot of angst around as I was coming out of my life plan process, and people were asking me about it, and, you know, could visibly see some changes in me. And, you know, Jim and I had a conversation about, like, how do I get them to the party? Like, I was all stressed out. Like, this is my job to get them there. And I need, you know, like, and again, it's a power versus force conversation. But, you know, Jim just said, well, just ask them if they trust you and put them on the phone with me or put them in a meeting with me. And then, you know, he can have the conversation about the wounded child and the ego and where the balance is and who your true self is. And like that conversation, to me, I have it at some cursory level with people. I have the whole holding space conversation at a level with people. But I think even just having something that's the introductory session where it's like, hey, you know, I have an opportunity for you it's a little MLM-ish in its thought process, but I have an opportunity for you. If you trust me, would you just sit in on this phone call and then let the people at Motzi kind of deliver the message in a much more probably practiced way than I would be able to do it. I think it's a little bit of just making people understand what it is, because we've all said, like, there's really no words, right? Like, it's hard. There's not the right words. I mean, Judy, you kind of spoke to it, like, am I using the right verbiage? It's because the words are hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, clearly I would defer to any one of the Motzi people and say, y'all do it. Y'all say it better than I do. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think for me, like, I've already recruited one of my sisters wants to do a group. So it really just starts with sharing what we're experiencing, right? And I don't know, I love the ideas that I'm hearing. I love the idea of there's going to be some people that would want to be in with their friends and family. There's going to be some people that want to be in with a whole group of strangers that they don't even know, right? So I think that's the harder part for you guys to figure that out. But the one thing that is resonating with me is giving them some exposure to this process in a group call, and letting them see if it resonates in any way with them. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I know people I would invite. I know someone from work that I would invite to be on the call, and I think what it starts with is me sharing what my struggle has been and how this has helped in some of my struggle, right? So, yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ramona, would you like to add anything?
Well, I agree. I think that would be a good way to introduce people to what the program's all about. If they, because you as the Mozzie team, you're better at leading, leading us and having the right words, and so if we had friends or family or someone that seems to be interested, then yeah, I think that would be helpful if they could sit in and just listen more to what it's all about.
Very cool.
We might be able to get that son of yours involved, Ramona, that Jonathan.
Oh yeah, that would be good. I heard he's moving back to the States. Rumor has it.
One of the things that's kind of just, and again, it's swimming in my brain, don't take this as anything other than I'm thinking out loud, but like Facebook community. So I've got a guy that's in my world kind of scrambling right now with some significant life changes, and it's, kind of painful to watch, because you can tell he wants to find his purpose, and he has no, and I think he's probably been doing this for 20 years, by the way, but I'm kind of recently added to his world, and it's just obvious. So I had sent the Sandy B YouTube audio to him, and just, about giving up control. And then I think there was the Find Your Purpose, right? We did the why with, that was just last week, the Amazing Grace guy singing.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I shared that on Facebook today because it was so impactful. You're right.
Yeah. So I sent it to this guy on text and said, hey, just, here's a couple of things for you to think about. And he listened and, said, thank you so much, friend. Love you, blah, blah, blah. And then like literally 27 seconds later, I see a post on Facebook where he says to his entire Facebook community, and he is really good at marketing what he's accomplished as far as his weight loss and stuff like that. So he kind of gets Facebook and social media from that perspective. But he says, I'm curious to know if everyone, like, do my Facebook friends know their purpose? Like he just threw that out in the universe. And then of course there was the whole, you know, all the comments. And of course I'm on there loving all the comments because people are thinking about it. And, you know, and I'm in my head like, oh, who are these people? You know, some of them were just like, it's whatever God's will is for me. Like, I don't know what that is, but I'm willing to buy into it. And other people are like, oh, I have no clue, or my purpose has changed. But like, it just started this dialogue of every one of those people clearly is being thoughtful about their purpose and interested in thinking about their purpose. And, you know, I had dinner with him last night. We talked a lot about it, and he's in tears and crying. And, you know, I mean, he's really in a good space for wanting to find who he is and what his purpose is. But it just, all of that just kind of started with like a little communication in this Facebook. Like, I don't know if there's a place where Facebook plays a role where we're all linked in and we're inviting our friends into the Facebook community, which is a little bit different than, like, I've shared some podcasts here and there that I thought were relevant off of the website, but, you know, maybe the Facebook group offers maybe an informal way for dialogue to start and for people to ask more questions and enter into it much more organically, I guess. I don't know. Just a thought.
I like
Mary, I like
You're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Mary, I like being in a space where I get to hear you talk so much. Like, you know, normally in COS it's us doing the talking, so this is cool.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, I really like those ideas.
Yeah, I like the Facebook group idea. We can just get, you know, people plugged in to it, and then get exposure, like a separate group, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, somebody added me to, I think it's called The Gas Station, and it's supposed to be this group that's about giving compliments to people. So if you're feeling down, you go in there and you post whatever your junk is, and then everybody's supposed to jump on and like tell you how fabulous you are, whatever. And I just, full transparency for me, I had to unjoin the group this morning because it was depressing the crap out of me. So like, I can only take so, I mean, it was like every day somebody posts like, I'm struggling with myself, and it's like, I need to engage with some of that. I just couldn't do it at that volume level. I was like, let me be a little bit more selective about this. But it's interesting to see how Facebook as a medium can really connect people that are, I mean, because you kind of get to choose your tribe a little bit, right? Like, who resonates with you. And although, you know, Judy, to your point, like, I now save people in my phone under their Enneagram, you know, number. So I try to be conscientious when I'm, you know, communicating. But, you know, I think when we're not in our highest self, maybe we're going to pick certain people that it's easier for us to, quote, deal with. And it does put you beyond your comfort zone. But I think that gives you, having the Facebook community gives you kind of the two things. Like, you're in that space where you're getting exposed to and practicing with people that may not be in your comfort zone. But at the same time, you have a whole group of people that's also very much in your comfort zone. So you feel supported. So I don't know, just, I like Facebook, apparently.
So let me ask something about that. So do you like it from the standpoint of people outside of who has engaged already can comment, or but this is a closed group? Are you talking about like?
So it's a closed group, but I like, so let's just say that one of you guys goes out and creates a group, call it Cultivating Our Souls. I don't know what you want to call it, whatever you call it. And it's a closed group. And then all of us get to go in and say, we can invite everybody. Like, in my case, I don't know how many Facebook friends I have, but I can either invite everybody, or I can look at the people in my world that I really, you know, kind of feel like are either more ready, or just based on my own arrogance need to be ready, one or the other, you know, and start the dialogue. Because again, I think that, y'all know me, I put full court press on people. Like, that whole power versus force, you know, that I struggle with. I can take a step back if I don't feel like like I have to carry the baton. David, stop smirking. So like if y'all are like the moderators, if you will, right, then I feel like I've kind of, I don't know what that is, but I'm doing the work of making, because again, David will tell you this is about me and wanting my community be harmonious and everybody, like I'm building the community around me, but that inherently does that without me taking, like, I don't know, you know, I have this issue about like, do I fail? Like you don't, like, you never give up on a life is my theory, but sometimes I'm not the right person to be having the conversation. It's like not everybody says the right thing at the right time, but maybe somebody else steps in and resonates. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this sounds a little like, Mary, like at one point you were going to invite a group of people and I think invite Paula and I to come out to Tyler, but this way we can use the technology to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Very cool.
We could even do Facebook Live sessions, just a little, we're going to be live at, you know, for 30 minutes at a time and talk about various things. And then that recording would be on the website there for people to look at. Now this would require Jim and David to engage in Facebook. Really. The other
Brown.
I think David might have just given me the stink eye. I'm not sure.
He's wondering what Facebook is.
There is another platform called Mighty Networks that it's on a separate app, and we've looked into that. It would just be
Yeah, but this is a different tool. To me, you were thinking of Mighty Networks in the context of creating community among COS.
Yeah.
This is how do you get the buzz going around the conversation?
Yeah.
How do we get them to COS in essence?
Yeah.
And so maybe there's like COS is kind of the introduction to the life plan, right? The Facebook group becomes the introduction to COS. So like if you look at Power of Positivity, like I think a lot of the stuff you do, you try not to create a lot of extra work for anybody. You can kind of regurgitate from other places that's very positive. But like Paula, the stuff that you're posting on Facebook, you're getting exposed to your Facebook friends, but like there's a whole audience that sometimes I selectively on the stuff that I've loved on your page, I strip that off your page and then I send it to 7 of my closest friends or whoever I think that's going to resonate with that day. But I think that why am I restricting it to 7 of my closest friends or the people it resonates with? Why don't I want to share it to the universe and then let the people that it resonates with select that it resonates and they enter the dialogue like the guy did with the purpose? Like he turned around and shared that across and all of his friends. Like I just think, and you let people invite so it doesn't, once I invite, say, the guy that I had dinner with last night and then he has the ability to start inviting friends. I just think, it's the first follower thing, right? Like, is Facebook how we get the first follower and it explodes? I don't know.
I like the idea of creating cultivating our souls on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think the name is really good too. I think people be like, oh, intrigued. Cultivate. Yeah. I like that.
And I like the idea of a taster that includes you for a circle of people, where they don't have to sign up. They can get exposure to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like that.
Yeah, they can be as invisible as they want to be, but it starts dialogue. And I think it helps people, like Anita said with her group, trying to plug in Missouri, like it just gave her, a tribe of people to give her a comfort level. And I think, everybody is always kind of searching for their community. And if we're lucky, we get those 5 kind of close friends or whatever, right, that we all feel really good about. But there's a whole lot of people out there that A, don't know who they are, and B, don't know how to find people that are like-minded. I mean, like who are the people that are doing this work that we're not exposed to because they're beyond our spider web of network? Like Facebook's a way to kind of find those people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So would you guys be willing to participate if we started, I don't know, a weekly or every other week, a 45-minute session, called it a taste of COS?
To invite friends and
get it, that you would like, Judy, you would say, come on and join me, and you would just log into the Zoom call. You would.
I would love that. I would do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there any particular time that would be better if, like, I'm thinking Fridays generally are better for most people. What do you guys think? What would be the best time for us to do something like that on a consistent basis?
For my circle, it's probably nights and weekends, which I don't know how that works for you all.
Nights and weekends?
Yeah.
All right. Like, what's a nighttime? Like a 7 o'clock, 7:30 kind of thing?
Yeah.
Judy, what do you think? And I'm watching.
I think she's right. I mean, like you said, what Jim said earlier really resonates, because I'm just lucky enough that I get to be home on Friday. But if it was any other day of the week in the middle of the day, I would feel like I'm constantly distracted.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking the same thing, like 6 or 7 or a Saturday, either try to do it. If it's a Saturday, I would try to do it not too early, but not so middle of the day that it interrupts whatever you're doing, like, 9 or 10. So. Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Mary? A Saturday or during the week on an evening?
I would say either. Again, I kind of agree with Judy that like a 9 at the latest, probably 10. Again, just depending on who your audience is. But I mean, I think a lot of people kind of spend quiet mornings on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday evenings might work, except for I don't know if people are, you know what I mean? It has to be early enough that they're not so in I'm going back to work mode and trying to get stuff done, but late enough not to mess with activities, which this time of year, if it's winter, you can do it at 6 o'clock. Everybody's kind of inside because it's dark. If it's summer, everybody's outside till 10 o'clock. So
true. That's true.
But weeknights, I don't know. Like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, are the people that are most likely to engage already doing some sort of activity, whether it's yoga, meditation, prayer, like being in touch with themselves and some other activity that it would be easy just to, have them kind of take off of that one week and do this, and what would be the likely times? Because I think it's a similar activity, I guess. So I'm trying to think what that normal time would be. I mean, I am not a good litmus for this because my schedule is just whatever my schedule is. So I don't know what, quote, normal scheduled people do.
To switch it slightly or expand the conversation, if we had a taste of a life plan experience.
Yeah.
Or, twice a month for an hour, we could come in, you can invite people very similar to COS, Taste of COS. They could touch the space of life plan. What is it? What the heck is this thing? Mm-hmm. If you sponsored or brought in friends, you may be willing to share your life plan or an aspect of life plan. We're always willing to share ours so they could see it. Would that be another idea? I don't know. It's bigger than COS.
I might like that better than COS, David, only because COS is kind of the introduction to it. Like me, I'm like, are we thinking too small? So if you introduce them to COS, because I've brought people to you really trying to be like, hey, how about a life plan? And we've kind of, I'm going to call it backpedaled into COS with them because the financial commitment or them just not being really ready, or it just seems like a lot to bite off. But I think for at least my conversations, sharing my life plan resonates way more with people than me talking about a weekly thing or a bi-weekly thing that I'm doing that's conversational. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So maybe we do both, because I think it'll meet some people that would rather first. It may be hard for them to enroll others in a life plan, and they can start with COS. And there's others like you, Mary. That would be awesome. Yeah. And maybe if we just said we're going to do something every Saturday at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
And one Saturday it's COS, the next Saturday it's life plan. One Saturday it's COS. And if everybody just knew that and we planned it, communicated, that may just be a way to build in a weekly thing. And if nobody shows up, we'll convince ourselves that we had a wonderful time talking to ourselves.
Maybe you should do that from a beach somewhere every Saturday, or I don't know, a winery. I don't know.
Live from New York, it's cultivating yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love the Facebook group idea. I'm a real fan of Facebook, so I think it's an awesome idea.
You're being totally sarcastic right now, aren't you? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anita can help us with that. Anita's is good at social media stuff. So she's helped us a lot on posting stuff.
So you guys are saying that if we created these forms, you would be happy to work with us to bring in family and friends, and you'd be comfortable doing that. That would be like, we would be bugging the hell out of you, because that's part of what we don't want to use the world of force to help expand the work we're doing, and we want to enroll it. Except for you, Mary. We love it that you try to use the world of force.
We have a bigger club for you. We're ready.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Are the podcasts helpful for you guys as a tool to share? Like, you find those helpful resources in this whole thing?
I do. I like the podcast. I had listened to Sandy Beach. Jonathan had sent me that, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it's on the list, and I'm thinking, well, I've already listened to it once, but I'll listen to it again. And it actually was, it was good, because I heard some things that I didn't hear before, and just go back through something too, and I just felt like I was in a different place listening to it this time around, and so it was good. It was helpful.
All right.
Oh, I have one more thing that I was thinking about when y'all invited me.
Sure.
And this is just whatever it is. I like the idea of what I liked the most started was that it was a set time frame. Like, it wasn't an endless, does that make sense? So like, I knew that I'm committing to 12 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And if I wanted to continue at that time, I could choose to do so. But I think that's important, because I feel like that helps people put their arms around what they're committing to. So that's my thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other thing I wonder, what about like podcast snippet? Like, leave them wanting more, right? So some of the podcasts can be fairly lengthy. And I think a lot of people, when I say, oh, can you commit an hour? Like, in just the frenzy of the world, they're like, are you freaking kidding me? No, it's just really your whole life, but whatever. An hour might be more than you're willing to, dedicate your whole life. But, if you give them a 10-minute podcast snippet, like I'm even thinking about just like Sandy B's deal. I listened to, I don't know, maybe 12 minutes the first time. And of course my phone rang or somebody texted. I don't know what happened, or, the dog started barking, who knows? And so I literally started over, I think maybe 4 different times. And I wasn't bored for the first 12 minutes, because again, I got something out of it every time, but it was the last time that I could really sit and focus for the full amount of time. But I think, sometimes it's like I was interested enough not to go, 12 minutes is enough, and to go back and listen to the whole thing. So I wonder about doing like podcast snippets to kind of hook them, and then, let them, see, this is me learning about power versus force, let them seek out the rest of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the topic areas that we touch on in CoS that would lend itself to a podcast snippet, and I love the term, is the vital distinction.
Oh,
Did Jim just disappear?
yeah.
I guess the universe said that's a stupid idea.
Oh. Well, after Jim, we'll give it a minute if he comes back, and we'll wrap up with what he didn't get to finish. And if not, unless there's something else, David and Paula, that we want to capture while we wait here a minute.
I just want to summarize. I heard Facebook groups. I heard potentially doing Facebook Live. taste of COS, maybe even a taste of life plan, a podcast snippet. Did I miss any of the other ideas and suggestions that are just glaring? Did I capture them as the ideas? That sounded right.
Yep.
Very good. And Saturdays. All right. You guys are awesome. This has been beneficial to me and the whole community of Mozzie. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jim, it looks like Jim's trying to get back in. You're back, Jimmy.
There we go.
Yay.
Can you hear
I
us?
don't know if you can hear. Can you
We
hear
could
us?
just see this much of you. Hello? Jim, are you there?
Where? I'm here. Can you see me?
We can. What were you saying, buddy?
I was saying that the vital distinctions in the COS lend itself to snippet treatment.
Yeah, we could spend 5 or 10 minutes on a distinction. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. This has been very helpful. Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
You all too.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Put your sunglasses back on, Mary. You look cool in
I
them.
know. Y'all want to see my dog that's not allowed on the couch? Yeah.
And
Rough
here,
life he has.
here's our dog, Daisy.
Oh.
All right. Bye,
All right,
everybody.
everyone. Have a great weekend.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, thank
Bye.
you.
Too.
I love
Bye,
you,
everyone.
dog, Anita.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ramona.
Bye, David. Thank you all.
Thank you.